everyone in India is aware that they have this fabulous, profound, extraordinary ancient civilization. And yet everyone around them, if they're in the diaspora, living in London or New York or Seattle, doesn't know this stuff. It's not taught in schools. It's oddly absent. And while we've seen 100 exhibitions on the Silk Road over the last 20 years, including 2 at this very moment in London, the extraordinary and wonderful exhibition at the British Museum called The Silk Roads, which again posits an idea of ancient trade whose terminus is at Chang'an, Xi'an today, where silk is the primary product of East-West exchange, and where all eyes are looking at China. Now, this is an idea which is not an ancient one. The Silk Road is not something mentioned in Chinese sources or medieval European sources or classical sources. It's actually invented by a German geographer in 1877. Baron von Richthofen is building a colonial railway line from Berlin to what was then called Peking, and he comes up with this idea, the Silk Road. So tonight, that's what I want to talk about. What did India give the world? Why don't we know it? And what are the specific ideas from India which changed the world? And I'm going to talk under 3 headings, really. First of all, most importantly, Buddhism, which I think you can argue is India's most successful ancient export. Not only taking over the whole of Southeast Asia, but also becoming very popular in China, and briefly, as we will hear, the state religion under Wu Zetian, and reaching beyond Korea and Japan to Mongolia and Siberia. All the ideas of an Indian holy man living by the Ganges in the mid-5th century BCE. Again, in modern scholarship, the story of the spread of Buddhism is often told as part of the story of the Silk Road, as if it is a Chinese story, but of course it's a story which begins in India. And it's a religion which contains within it a whole set of Indian ideas of karma, of cosmology, of kalpas and yupas, which are specifically Indic ideas that come with that religion across the world, spreading with it. At the same time as that was happening, you have the whole story of the spread of Sanskrit literature and Sanskritic sciences, along with ideas of Hindu kingship, into Southeast Asia. So countries such as Thailand, Cambodia, Java, the whole of Indonesia, Laos, take on these ideas of Hindu kingship, and you suddenly have a whole load of kings called Suryavarman and Mahendravarman taking on Sanskrit titles, and a renaming of the landscape, so that the king of Lord Ram's capital Ayodhya is rebuilt outside Bangkok. A new Kurukshetra appears in Laos, and so on. Then thirdly, I'm going to talk about mathematics, which is the idea from India which had the most effect on the West, though we have forgotten it today. And that story, I think, will be unfamiliar to most of us. For me,